Hi, and welcome to today's video. I feel like my bracelet might be really loud during this video, so I think I'm going to take it off. All right, let me put that over here. I don't really know exactly what I'm going to title this video, but it's an idea I've had for a bit now because I've kind of been feeling like I might be going into some sort of reading slump, and that absolutely cannot happen. I hate being in a reading slump so much. So to prevent that, I decided I wanted to make this video where I'm going to share with you 10 books that are on my radar and kind of like my more immediate TBR, or just like books that I'm really excited about and I really want to read. Or this could also be books that I've had on my shelves for a while and like currently they just sound super interesting and that they would maybe prevent me from getting into a reading slump. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. I have a list of 10 books. Some of these I don't own copies of. I just have like holds for them on Libby and stuff, but I'm still just equally as excited to read those as well. So without further ado, let's get on into this video. All right, the first book is actually Us Against You by Friedrich Bachmann. I read Beartown, I think in March, and it was a 5-star read for me. So I knew I had to pick up the second book in this series. In this series, it takes place in a hockey town in, I believe, Sweden. Someone told me it was Sweden. I kind of forget. I think in a video I mentioned it was Canada and it just is not. I think I just assumed because of the hockey stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's Sweden. Yes, it is in a small Swedish town. And this is just such a character-driven series, which I love, as we know. You just follow so many different characters throughout it and like their struggles. It's kind of amazing how many characters are in this book. Even though there are so many characters, I was never once confused about whose perspective we were reading from. And overall, the writing was just so good. And I would recommend this to anyone. In the first book, it kind of starts as a thriller, but it's not, I wouldn't pitch the book series as a thriller. I would just pitch it as like a contemporary fiction where, yeah, we're just dealing with a bunch of people in this small Swedish town where hockey is just very prevalent. Kind of like Friday Night Lights-esque, but instead of football, it's hockey. I'm very nervous to continue the series because of where we left off in the first book, but it's been one I've been needing to get to and I've been really excited about picking it up. As I was thinking about this video, I wanted to peruse my shelves a little and just kind of see what was on there that maybe I've neglected and like haven't really, I don't know, just that I forgot was on my shelf, honestly. And one of those was My Rogue to Ruin by Erica Ridley. This is a historical romance book, and I'm someone, I love a good historical romance, and I haven't picked up one in a while. We know my favorite historical romance series, League of Extraordinary Women, but I feel like I was maybe a little scarred due to the Bridgerton series. I read, I think, the first 5 or 6 in that series, and I'm not going to get into detail about that, but I did not enjoy those books. And so it does scare me a little bit that Julia Quinn, the author of the Bridgerton series, did a blurb on this and that's on the front, but I still want to give it a shot. Typically for romance books, I don't really like knowing the whole plot because I feel like, you know, you're going to figure it out eventually. Whereas with a fantasy book, I feel like I have to read the back synopsis in order to get a grasp of what's going on. So I'm not 100% confused. Just seems like a cute historical romance. We'll see if I like it. And me picking this book is less because of this specific book. It's kind of more just I feel like I need a good historical romance read, and I feel like that's just something I've been missing recently and I need to pick it up. Okay, the next book is a start of a fantasy series that I've been meaning to get into for a very long time now, and that is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. James Islington is the author of The Will of the Many, if you're not familiar, and that was my favorite book of last year. So I've been wanting to read his backlog for a while now. As you can see, it's kind of intimidating to get into this. I don't know how many pages this is. It's almost 700 pages for the first book, and it's a trilogy, and I believe this is the shortest book in the series, which is frightening. It's like, I do really want to pick this up. I ended up reading, I think, the first 50 pages, maybe like 2 months ago, because I had a hold for it on Libby, but obviously it expired because I was not able to finish it in the amount of time allotted to me. I kind of forget exactly what this is about, so I'm gonna read the synopsis because it's super short. As destiny calls, a journey begins. It has been 20 years since the godlike augurs, I think, were overthrown and killed. Those who once served them, the gifted, were spared only after accepting the rebellion's 4 tenets, which vastly limited their powers. Davian suffers the consequences of a war lost before he was even born. When he discovers that he wields the forbidden power of the Augurs, he sets into motion a chain of events that will change everything. To the west, a young man whose fate is intertwined with Davian's wakes up in a forest covered in blood and with no memory of who he is. And in the far north, an ancient enemy begins to stir. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that gave me nothing about what this book is about, but I do remember like The Gifted and that sort of part, but I feel like I didn't really get super into the plot as I was reading the book. I am excited about this book. Maybe excited is the wrong word. I'm just like very intrigued and I want to like this series so much because I absolutely love The Will of the Many, and I just think James Islington's writing in that book was just so good, and that was like the first book in a while that really made me like kind of like feel super intertwined in a fantasy world. So I hope to feel that again. So I think that's why I am excited to pick this up, but I guess not excited enough to have read it by now. Next is a book that's been on my shelves for a very long time now, and it's one that I've been meaning to get to because I've heard so many good things about it, and that is Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. I don't know why it's taking me so long to get to this. I know it's like a YA, it's like a contemporary, but does it have magical realism in it? I kind of forget. Oh, it's a historical thriller. Okay, I didn't even know it was a historical thriller. That's kind of crazy of me. This is just something that I feel like I'm going to love based off the synopsis. And let me read the synopsis for you. Lily Who can't remember exactly when the question took root, but the answer was clear the moment she and Kath Miller walked under the neon sign of a lesbian bar called the Telegraph Club. America in 1954 is not a safe place for two girls to fall in love. Red Scare paranoia threatens everyone, including Chinese Americans like Lily. With deportation looming over her father, Lily and Kath risk everything for love. While the synopsis is super short, I do feel like this is going to be a very powerful and good read. I feel like I've been loving books like this recently, so I think this will be a good one to pick up. Next book is one that I didn't even have on my radar. I guess it's very popular on Book Talk and stuff, but I haven't really seen anything about it. But it's one that I do need to get to because I'm reading it with my best friend Sam, and that is Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wang. I don't know anything about this book, but I've heard very good things. I've heard the ending like destroys people, which I always love when a book can destroy me. The cover is gorge. I love it. Let me read the synopsis because I truly have no idea. Ooh, pretty map. Love it. For 20 years, Siona, I think, has devoted every waking moment to the study of magic, fueled by a mad desire to achieve the impossible, to be the first woman ever admitted to the high magistry at the University of Magics and Industry. When Siona finally passes the qualifying exam and becomes a high mage, she finds her challenges have just begun. Her new colleagues have determined to make her feel unwelcome, and instead of a qualified lab assistant, they give her a janitor. What neither Siona nor her peers realize is that her taciturn assistant was not always a janitor. 10 years ago, he was a nomadic hunter who lost his family on their perilous journey from the wild plains to the city. But now he sees the opportunity to understand the forces that decimated his tribe, drove him from his homeland, and keep the privileged in power. At first, mage and outsider have a fractious relationship, but working together, they uncover an ancient secret that could change the course of magic forever if it doesn't get them killed first. Okay, now I do remember my friend telling me it was like a magical school, and that's one of my favorite tropes of all time. I feel like I'm even more excited about reading this. Like, I originally put this on the list because I needed to get to it and it was just on my radar, but now I'm actually very excited about it, which is great. I don't know if this is a series or if it's a standalone. Oh, it's a standalone dark fantasy. It says it right there. Okay, I just need to read. Obviously. Oh, they wrote The Sword of Kaigan, which I've heard a lot of good things about that too. So yeah, very intrigued about this. I'm glad I read the synopsis because I really had no idea what it was about for the most part. And that's bad. But yeah, we'll get to this soon. The next book is on my radar because it is the second and final book in this series. It's just a duology by Rebecca Ross, and that is The Queen's Resistance. And this is the sequel to The Queen's Rising, which I read last month actually. And I absolutely love that book. I've explained it a couple times now, but it does deal with a magical school, but it follows our main character Brianna, and she goes to this school where you're supposed to find like what your passion is, and there's 5 different passions. I think it's like wit, knowledge. Ooh, I kind of forget the other ones, but art, I think. I can't remember the rest, sorry. But at the school, you're supposed to find your passion, and once you graduate, it kind of determines what job you'll have or stake in society you'll have. But along the way, once she graduates, there's an uprising in the kingdom, and she kind of gets involved in that due to some of her relations. That's kind of just a brief synopsis because so much happens and it was so good. There's a lot of different like twists and turns and plot twists, and I'm very excited to continue the series. Next book, it's a book that I think I'm going to love, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I've explained a couple times, but here, wait, first let me show you the book. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I have had this book for maybe 2 years now, and I predict that I'm going to love it. The only problem is with this book is that every time I've tried to pick it up, it's when I'm on the verge of some sort of reading slump, and it's not to do with this book at all. But like every time I've tried to pick it up, I've read the first 50 pages and then I just get into the worst reading slump ever. I've just picked this book up at the wrong time. And so I'm determined to not do that. I want to pick this up when I'm, in a really good reading mood. Maybe I've just read a really good book or something, because I am determined to finish this book. It just seems like a story I would really enjoy. It's like a gothic fantasy, and I know that people really love the romance elements in this book, and I've heard that it doesn't take away from the plot. So I'm hoping that's true, because that's just like a pet peeve of mine with like romance and fantasy books. I do need to get to this, and I will get to this, I promise. Just need to do it at the right time, because if this happens, because I know it happened twice where I picked it up and I just got into a bad reading slump. So if it happens a third time, I might have to blame the book. I might have to. Okay, and the next 3 books I actually don't own, but they're 3 books that I have holds for on Libby that I just wanted to talk about. And I do have my iPad here so I can read the synopses. So the first book I want to get to has just recently come out, I think maybe a couple weeks ago, and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I love V.E. Schwab. I've read a lot of her books. I've read Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and then I read the Darker Shades of Magic trilogy, and absolutely love that series. This is going to be a book that I feel like is going to be more similar to Invisible Life of Addie LaRue in the sense that I think it's a standalone. This book sounds really intriguing. It like follows the lives of 3 different women across 3 different time periods. The synopsis does share like a bit about each woman that it follows. And the 3 women, it starts with one from 1532, there's one in 1827 and one in 2019. And I think from what I've heard, it's just like in the book, we kind of learn about their lives and how they died. I think they all died. I'm pretty sure, but how their stories are connected. And I think that sounds really interesting. Sounds like it's gonna be a little bit like thriller-esque, just trying to like connect the dots. And I feel like that's something that just sounds really good. I currently have this on loan from the library, so I do need to get to it very soon. And I'm honestly planning on picking it up this week. So we will see how I feel about it. Next book, I am so excited for this, and that is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I love Ashley Poston's romance books so much. I think I've read all of them. I don't know how many she's had out, but I've read The Dead Romantics, The 7-Year Slip, and A Novel Love Story. So this one seems so cute. The 2 main characters in it, one's a songwriter and one's a bitter musician. And it says they share a startling and inexplicable connection that they'll do anything to shake. Love that. And as with all of Ashley Poston's romance books, there's like a magical realism element. And it seems like that's going to happen in this book as well. Like I said before, I don't really like knowing a lot about a romance book when I get into it, but this sounds really cute, and I'm hoping I really enjoy it. And Ashley Poston's an author that I will pick up any book she comes out with pretty much. Even if the premise doesn't sound necessarily like something I would enjoy, I trust her. I'll read it and I'll probably love it. So hoping that's the case for this book as well. Okay, and the final book I wanted to talk about is another newer release, and that is My Friends by Friedrich Bachmann. We have another Friedrich Bachmann book on this list. I don't know, I just feel like these types of books I do like reading in the summer, more like contemporary books. This one, I feel like compared to his other ones, sounds very summery in a way. And it says this book is a deeply moving tale of 4 teenagers whose friendship creates a bond so powerful that it changes a complete stranger's life 25 years later. Like, all right, I know I'm gonna cry reading it because his books are just so emotional, but like I've said, I'm just in the mood to read something like this, and I feel like hopefully this is something that I'm really gonna like. I feel like Friedrich Bachmann, is it Frederick or is it Friedrich? I don't know. For some reason I want to call him Friedrich. I should probably figure out what the right way to say his name is, but for right now it's Friedrich. I just really like his writing a lot. I feel like bingeable is the wrong word, but just I feel like I can absorb his stories very fast and just like feel very immersed in the story. Sometimes in a bad way, where like I was reading Beartown and like I was literally going to bed so anxious because I was so nervous about what was happening to the characters in the book. So it can be a bad thing of how connected I feel to his characters, but it also can be a good thing because I just feel so immersed. So very excited to pick this up. I do have a hold for Libby, but I keep deferring it because I'm just not ready yet. Like I want to be ready to read this, but I'm not yet. I'm going to be soon. So it's on this list for that reason. But all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I definitely enjoyed making it. And if you haven't yet, I would appreciate it so much if you subscribed. And if you wanted to leave a like, that's good too. But that's all I have for you guys today. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.